Hello, dear listeners. It's your girl Maya. Once again, that was Girl Without Gold by Elizabeth Sargent and Chai Time by Tanvi Vyas. What beautifully soothing pieces of poetry both focus on self-reflection, ultimately leading to personal growth and inner peace. Listeners, the dominant culture throws these words around in social media and removes all depth from them. The poems you just heard truly show how old wisdom still has weight. If you have the chance, make sure you grab something to eat. Nourish your brain and your body this excitable morning. Now, let us transition to our first official guest of the day, welcoming our resident expert on, well, everything, Professor Tanvi herself. You're on air.
Bees!
I'm sorry?
The weather is warming up. The bees will leave hibernation soon. Would you like to learn about how they hibernate?
Of course.
Wonderful. There are over 16,000 species of bees, but let me tell you about a few of my favorites. Honeybees hibernate by going back to the hive and huddle in a crowd into the hive's lower central area, forming a winter cluster. Worker bees huddle around the queen, and the group will shiver to keep the center around 80 degrees. Workers rotate from the outside to the inside of the cluster, ensuring no bees get cold. The colder the weather, the more compact the group. Most wasps die off in the winter. They'll hide out in crevices and shelter in closed-off places. Colder winters are better for the survival of wasps. Mild or warm winters see the queens come out of hibernation early. There is usually no food available. Many of them will die of starvation. Carpenter bees hibernate and will drill tunnels into old wood. The bees will find an old nest tunnel and hide out over the winter. They'll reemerge and mate after mating females find a new place to nest and begin drilling into the wood in the spring. The tunnel can run up to a couple inches long and she will lay her eggs. The next generation of bees will emerge as adults in the summer.
This is essential information. I never realized there were so many types of bees. Thank you for the mini lesson.
Personally, Apis dorsata, or the giant honeybee, is my favorite species of bees. They are found in South and Southeast Asia and grow to be considerably larger than most other honeybee varieties. Unlike Apis mellifera, the Western European honeybee, their colonies do not nest in enclosed cavities but choose to reside under hanging trees and rocky cliffs. Therefore, they cannot be domesticated in hives like other varieties. Instead, this group's honey is harvested by climbing to the great heights where they build their colonies and cutting off the combs directly.
That's very interesting.
The largest species of bees, named the Himalayan giant honeybee, is a subspecies called A. dorsata laboriosa, and some sources list it as a separate species called A. laboriosa. They make something called mad honey, a sweet reddish substance with psychotropic effects that in small doses are reportedly pleasant. Unfortunately, honey hunters, the term given to the people who use traditional methods to collect the honey off of these majestic bees, are becoming rarer and rarer. The traditions are dying off, and honestly, there's a bit of an internal debate I'm having, because on one hand, it's sad to see such a treasured tradition, and in some cases, a rite of passage upheld for thousands of years, go out of practice. But on the other hand, it is perilous, and you could discuss the ethics of honey collecting, though it is thousands of times better than how it is done in the West, at least in my opinion, and if these indigenous groups have been doing so for thousands of years, clearly they know what they're doing, so...
Wasn't that fascinating? Thank you so much for calling in today, Professor, but unfortunately, we have run out of time. Dear listeners, I hope you learned something new from this segment, and remember to save the bees. I'll be back after this short commercial break.